He was going to have to start fighting him, and he did, and they both went on for fighting. 5 minutes.
Gordy Roberts leaving the puck now at the Penguin line for Larry Murphy, who circles back. Murphy on the play, back it down the boards, and the left wing side of the Capitals in. And Liut, big, tall, rangy goaltender. Bringing the puck back to center. Liut is forced down the pinch, put it in front, and a backhand attempt by Jágr. He couldn't get the shot on the goal. Jágr goes behind the net, working around to Yuri Hrdina. Hrdina, Pittsburgh. Pressured on the play by Mike Lawler. Borka's in too, so is Jágr, and Jágr comes away with it, but now it's poked off his stick and right through to center. Dino Ciccarelli going back into the Penguins end. Feet into Tippett, cutting for the goal. He's there. His wrist shot glove by Peter Angelo. Knocked in on the rebound, but the whistle had sounded. Are they giving the goal or not? A hooking call. There's going to be a penalty coming up here. There'll be a penalty call. The puck was knocked in, but it'll be a hooking call against the Penguins. Gordy Roberts.
Jágr started this play for the Caps back in the Capital zone when he came out with the puck towards the Penguin zone and lost it, and the Caps picked it up, and then Jágr coming back seemed to lose track of who he should be taking coming back into his own zone.
You wonder, and I'm looking at the series overall, and this game's far from over, but the Capitals are surviving on their power play right now, winning games and getting back into them, and I don't think for a long series that's going to be the case. Here's Johansson, center point, left side over to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher moves, shoots to the net, stop, rebound, knocked in. They do score. Ciccarelli gets the goal, and the Capitals make it 5-4. Well, they score another one with a man advantage. Unbelievable.
And it's all starting with face-off wins and shots from those point men, and the Capitals collapsing players around that net. They don't really spread out the power play and try to stretch out that box. They more or less collapse around your goal and just cause so much traffic in front of the goaltender and hope that those point men have enough time to get shots away. Mike Ridley did handle the puck along the near boards, but when he went back to the point, there was a lot of stuff happening in front of Frank Pietrangelo. Kevin Hatcher has that ability to circle away towards the blue line and get people moving, and he shot it back to the net. Frankie gloved it but didn't hang on to it, and Ciccarelli can score with his head. He's amazing. He was down on the ice and was able to shove that puck into the net to make it 5-4.
Boy, a huge goal by the Capitals. Dino Ciccarelli, number 3, and it makes it a 5-4 hockey game.
And they got a power play goal early in period 3 of game 1 that got them momentum, and they ultimately tied it, then won the game.
Well, to their credit, their power play has been absolutely phenomenal. The Penguins' penalty killing has just not been able to do the job. And now they still lead by 1 to the Penguins. Capitals now have 5 power play goals against the Penguins in 2 games. Down the left wing, Bob Airy. He'll cut in deep. Penguins have poked in 2 tonight themselves. Capitals are now 5 for 9 on the power play against Pittsburgh. And Ridley works it up over to Kelly Miller. Back to Ridley again at equal strength. They haven't fared real well. Here's Johansson shooting the puck right to the Penguin net, and Pietrangelo will glove it and hold on. You can feel the Capitals trying to regain the momentum right now and get back and tie the game. Here are the Capitals now with just over 14 minutes left in regulation. Whipping the puck into the Penguins in. It goes off the right wing quarter boards and behind the net to Yuri Hrdina. 5-4 Pittsburgh here in the third. Penguins trying to even the series at 1 game apiece. It will come to Jágr. Jágr down the left wing. Penguins won game 2 of the New Jersey series by this identical score, 5-4, 1 in overtime. And Jaromir Jágr's goal, remember that? And here is Stephen Leach. Can't handle the pass. Grant Jennings, who's seen limited ice time tonight for the Penguins. Out with Larry Murphy. Murphy will wrist it up into the Capitals zone. Liut steps out wearing number 1 of the Capitals red uniforms. Airy got the pass off the near boards for the Penguins. He tried to bank it over to Lemieux. Can't do it. Hatcher's after it near corner. And he worked it off the boards and back through to the neutral zone.
Look at the Capitals holding guys' sticks. They do it all night long.
Coffey again comes into the Caps in. He's sandwiched between 2 Capitals. Lost the balance on his skates and went off of him. Capitals sneak it back to center. They got Ridley behind the defense. Left side. He's got a man open. Berglund. And Jágr makes a big defensive play to knock it away off the stick of Ridley. And goes on top of the puck in the corner. The great speed of Jaromir Jágr catching Mike Ridley before he can make a play. And the young guy, 19 years of age, from Czechoslovakia, does not allow the Capitals a good scoring chance. Face off to the right of the Penguin goal. Stan was nowhere to be found either. The closest man coming back in the play was Mario Lemieux. The Penguins were really trapped out of position. There's Stan now carrying the puck into the Capital zone.
They're the team that's leading, Mike, you know.
I'm afraid he turns him around on the play to center ice, and Coffey again with the puck, work it up back to the Capitals line. The Penguins have tried to deliver the knockout punch in this game a number of times. They just haven't been able to do it. Kelly Miller down, Penguins in, turn around by Coffey. Bob Airy coming up with it. The Penguins have had several 2-goal leads in this contest, but they've not been able to get that one to make it a 3-goal margin. The one that I think would have turned the game in their favor. But the Capitals will pound back to their credit. Ridley, Penguins in, shoots it right on, and Pietrangelo will glove it. Knock it down for Paul Coffey with 12:27 to go here in the third period. Outlet pass beyond the outstretched arms of Recchi. Deep into Caps ice. Liut's going to come in. He has to play the puck because Recchi was right there. Recchi against Langway. Good matchup. But Hatcher's over to help the play. Kevin Hatcher of Washington. Feeding up to Hunter, who returns now after serving the major penalty. On right wing, here come the Capitals in the Penguin zone. Stevens will take a piece of Dmitry Khristich. Now here's Cicerelli shooting. Stop. Rebound. Johansson can't tee it up. And he goes behind the Penguin net. Cicerelli comes down, trying to step it in the backhand. Can't do it. Goes in. The Capitals score from right in front. And I think it was Cicerelli or Khristich that got the stick on it. And the Caps have tied the game at 5. They're right back in it. Cicerelli was right there, but I have a feeling that it might have been Khristich who got the last stick on it.
Cicerelli almost scored the first time he came around the corner with a puck on the backhand. It was laying there. Pietrangelo didn't get down to cover it and went right between his legs.
Oh, it is Cicerelli.
Frankie didn't get down to get that puck as it was laying next to the post. Cicerelli got another stick on it as he just kept his head in there and kept digging for that puck and looking for that loose puck and finally poked it between the legs of Pietrangelo.
Boy, the Capitals rallied from a deficit. Now a penalty coming up here, and who's it going to be against? It might be against the Penguins. It will be. It'll be an elbowing call against Roberts, and now Khristich belts him back. The Penguins, after watching the Capitals tie the game, now will take a penalty that'll put them short-handed.
And Khristich tried to get one too, but he probably won't. Because after the whistle blew, he should have been smart enough not to do that. His team had a power play chance. They're going to get one anyway, but they should have taken it away from him.
All right, Pittsburgh will be short-handed here. Roberts headed to the penalty box.
Gordy Roberts elbowed Khristich, and he will sit down for elbowing. Boy, he took a shot at Cicerelli, knocked his helmet off. Kind of drilled him into the boards, didn't he? That might have been the penalty.
So this is power play chance number 6 for the Capitals. Already 3 for 5, and they have it, and the Penguins in. 5-5 the score. Trying to take the lead, and it's off Hatcher's stick and bouncing wide and back to center. The Capitals have never had the lead in this game. Give them credit. They battle back on all occasions. Now have tied it. And here is Ridley. I beg your pardon. They did have the lead. They had the opening goal of the game. My apologies to you. Stanton around the far corner. Still in his own end. Ridley coming up with it. Out to the left point to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher checked on the play by Gillen. The puck hops back to center. Mullen steps into Hatcher again. Looking for the loose puck will be the Capitals. They have it. They're into the Penguin zone. On the right side, Ridley with a wrist shot. Pietrangelo gloved that one and held on. And we'll have a face-off in Penguin territory. Capitals go to a change in their power play. They'll bring out the Hunter line with Pavanka and Druce. And the appointment will be Iafrate and Kevin Hatcher will stay up.
Sometimes it's not how many times you kill off a penalty, it's when you kill it off. And believe me, the Penguins would have been happy to kill off a few of them earlier in the game, but right now they really have to do it. This is going to be a time when the penalty killers, if they can kill it off and the Penguins can regain some momentum, can look back and say, well, at least we killed this one, the one that would have put us behind.
Dino Cicerelli has led the way back for the Capitals with goals here in the third period. Goals 3 and 4 in the playoffs. And he is out here again. He'll look for the hat trick. Center point, Penguins in. Iafrate shoots one that'll miss the mark. Grant Jennings handles it for the Penguins. Jennings moving around the far wing, but it comes to Cicerelli. Dumps it over to Dale Hunter and the Capitals, who dominated in the first period before the Penguins came back and took the lead. Now driving to the left point that goes by everybody and all the way back into the Capital zone. Caps are alive right now. They've got the momentum going their way. Michael Pavanka lost it to Grant Jennings, who whacks it back to the Capitals line. Iafrate sets up shot with 43 seconds to go on the penalty. Out the right wing, going to Pavanka. Into Pittsburgh territory. Pavanka around the boards. Hunter goes in. Bob Airy got a piece of him, but Hatcher flipped it up, and it comes to Gary Murphy. Looks for Lemieux. Lemieux takes over 1-on-2 to the Capitals in short-handed. Mario Lemieux goes in deep behind the net. Iafrate can't stop him. He centers it back. And he tried to do, I think what he was trying to do is bank it off Lemieux and having Kara behind him. Capitals spin it back to center ice. They try and go into the Penguins in there well. Dale Hunter to the right wing. Hunter brings it in deep, going behind the goal. Paul Stanton rip it around the boards and out, falling to the ice. 9:50 left here in the third period. Penguins 5, the Capitals 5. Calle Johansson's up on the play. Leading up right wing. Coffey goes back. The penalty is over. The Penguins are back to equal strength. The Capitals have it. Penguins in though. Johansson cutting for the neck, and he shoot it. He can't. Again, they put it in right in front. Tim Berglund gets the go-ahead goal for the Capitals, and they now lead 6-5. Tim Berglund from right in front, a loose puck around the net, and the Capitals have the lead by 1. Well, the Capitals with a big third period comeback again.
Coffey cleared the puck around the boards. It came right to Hunter. He put it down in the corner. They moved it right back out in front. And Stanton was reaching for that puck. I think Stanton might have put it in his own net. The puck came in front. It looked like Paul Stanton was reaching for the puck. No, it was Coffey. Was it Coffey who put it in his own net? Sure looked like it.
Calle Johansson will get the goal, his second. Ridley apparently has the assist, and it's now 6-5 Washington.
I'd like to get another look at that one.
Cicerelli and Hunter. The assist on the goal. Johansson gets it, and it gets by the Penguin netminder, Peter Angelo, and it's now a 6-5 Washington lead. And here come the Penguins now, trying to get back in tie of the game. Stevens of Pittsburgh, long shot. Liud makes the save. They replace Liud with Beaupre. Put him in that Paul Beaupre. And Liud has held the Penguins without a goal, and the Capitals have scored 3 times. On the right wing board, Larry Murphy feeding the puck on the Capitals into Ronnie Francis. Francis now over to Kevin Stevens. Stevens pass it back, but Roberts got a stick on it, and it deflects to center ice. Roberts going back on the play to his own end now. The puck to Joey Mullen. What a game this has been. The Capitals had all the advantage in the first period before the Penguins scored, then took the game away from the Capitals, and now, again, Washington's regained the momentum. Here's Stevens offside of the pins going to the Capital zone. And it's been all Washington here in period number 3. 8:41 to go.
We're going to take a lot of look at the goal that the Capitals got to put them ahead. The puck came out. Coffey was looking for it. And Calle Johansson did reach back on the backhand maneuver as he was drifting away from that puck. He whirled around and just put it towards the net and went right between the legs of Peter Angelo. That was a great individual effort, actually, by Calle Johansson.
I thought that Berglund might have touched it right in front to direct it home, but that was not the case, and Johansson cashes in. Capitals 6, Penguins 5. And the Penguins back on their heels right now, trying to make the motor go the other way. Lemieux out here for the Penguins. Can't get a handle on it. And Bob Airy to his own blue line. Three-point pass to Mark Recchi. Gave it away to Ron Langway. And here are the Capitals driving the puck back to the Penguins. And they have Ridley, Berglund, and Kelly Miller out here against the Lemieux line.
One thing the Penguins thought they were doing too much of in game 1 was fishing for that puck too much around the net, Mike, instead of taking the man. That was a good case, but there, everybody looking down at their feet for the puck. Johansson was doing the same thing because he's in an offensive position, but you got to take the man in that situation and make sure nobody's getting that puck. Penguins aren't doing that right now, down low, and the Caps are making them behave that way, I think, by just putting good pressure on the Pens down low and around that cage.
Now the Pens down to 7:35 to go and trying to get the tying goal. Down the right wing, Loney coming to the Capitals end, goes to Lemieux, drop pass back, and here come the Capitals on a 3-on-1. Ridley with Kristich into Cicerelli, and the pass by Ridley's too far for Cicerelli, allowing the Penguins to get back. Well, they blew a great chance there. Now they're around the net. They turn and shoot it. It goes in, but the puck was waved off. The goal is waved off. Frankie's having trouble seeing that puck right now. It was under his pads and it squirted free and in the goal, but the whistle had sounded. And it did take some time after that before it did score it across the line, but the goal judge is doing his job of turning the light on when that puck goes across the line. That's what he's supposed to do. The goal judge right there read the play, and he did exactly what he's called upon to do. But the whistle had sounded prior to that and quite a bit before. And Frankie just could not find the puck. He didn't know where it was.
Cicerelli is so dangerous coming out from behind that net. He scored a goal in overtime for the Capitals in their previous series with the Rangers to win a game, and same play, coming out and then just turning it right back to the net.
No goal. The whistle had blown. No goal.
And you could see it was still on the line when they came in and jammed it in after the whistle had sounded, so the goal does not count. 6-5 Washington here in period number 3. Caps with another big dramatic comeback. You rarely see teams that trail going to the third period win in this league, but the Caps have done it once, trying to do it a second time. 18 prior times in playoff competition, the Capitals have had 5 goals scored against them, Paul. Their record, 0-18. Here they are in front of the Penguin net, so they've rallied, trying to knock that number aside. And here's Larry Murphy on the move going to the Penguins end down the right wing. Loney in front to Gillen with a backhand attempt miss. Loney is around the goal. He can't pull the trigger. Liud is rammed over, knocked down. Loose puck picked up near side by the Capitals, and Kevin Hatcher's 1-on-1 against Gordy Roberts. Less than 7 minutes to go in regulation. Hatcher pulls back. He'll whip it back towards the Penguins end. The Capitals, you would think, would Probably play a little more defensive minded. Here's Yager trying to go through 4 men. He gets around 3, breaks in, but he's tripped and knocked down. Langway gets the puck. To Dale Hunter, and he'll snap it ahead. Here comes a 2-on-1 break for the Capitals. Cicerelli on the right wing. Yager's after him. Goes left side. A shot. Missed. Cicerelli in front. He can't turn it over to put it into the open net. And Coffey on the Penguins. The Penguins are pressing the attack here right now, trying to get a tying goal. And they are getting caught time and time again back. With only 1 man back. Yager. Over to Stanton. Will come to Coffey. Coffey cannot get into the zone, but Francis will. Ron Francis with a slap shot. That'll miss. Around to the right point. Stanton to the Penguins. Off the boards to Yager. Gary Murray looks like a genius right now. Made a goaltending change. Liutz has held the Penguins scoreless. Shot to the net. Peter Angelo stops it from the left wing circle and holds on to it. Liutz has been in the goal, and the Capitals have gotten that spark to get it turned around.
Paul Coffey pinched down the left wing boards and did not keep the puck in, and the Capitals bounced out of there with a 2-on-1. Cicerelli with a great opportunity, but he could not cash in on it as he cut to the net. Couldn't turn it over to the backhand. Peter Angelo was down too in that situation.
And the puck is slapped back into the Capitals' end. 6-5 Washington. Penguins trying to rally, and they lose the puck at the point. Really coming back in the play, going to the Penguins' end. Looks to pass across to Kelly Miller, but the Penguins break it up.
It's uncanny how the Capitals move that puck quickly and deep in their own end and up the boards to get it out.
Murphy's pass intercepted by Calle Johansson. And the Capitals held on to a 1-goal lead late in the 3rd period against the Penguins on a Wednesday night, then scored an empty netter. Stevens of Pittsburgh down deep. We still have a lot of time to go before that would manifest itself with the Penguins pulling their goaltender, you would think. And here are the Pens and the Caps in, but it's worked free by them and back to center, and they would have had another 2-on-1, and they will get it now. Hunter to the left side of Miller. And the Caps carried to the Penguins in, but the pass was just too far away from Miller, and he's tired. He'll come off. Stevens of Pittsburgh trying to beat Dale Hunter. Dump it off to Mark Recchi. Recchi on the right wing. Recchi has it, put it in front of the net. A bouncy puck. Penguins have had some dramatic comebacks against the Capitals this year in this building. Some big games. They won in overtime. Here's Recchi behind the net. Centers it for Lemieux. He's knocked down. Penalty coming up against the Capitals. Here's Coffey with it. Shooting the puck, and it missed. And around the boards right side to Paul Stanton. Center point to Recchi. Extra attacker on. Fires a deflected stop. Rebound. Who gets it? Penn score! They've tied the game at 6. From right in front, the Penguins have tied it. Oh, you'd have to be here to believe it. The Penguins have tied the game on a delayed penalty call, and the Penguins have made it 6-6.
And the guy who jumped on got the goal, Randy Gillen. Amazing. Gillen inserted into the lineup tonight. Recchi shot it. It hit something in front of Liut. Mario had to get out of the way. He was on the ice. He didn't want to get hit with a shot, so he stepped aside. And Gillen jumped on a loose puck and put it in. Randy Gillen.
So Randy Gillen joined the parade. They pulled Peter Angelo, and they made it 6-6 now. And a wild one here at the Civic Arena. I told you we've had some crazy games with these two clubs this year. Penguins twice have won in overtime against the Capitals. And coming from behind, the Caps trying to put on their own dramatic rush again. Now the Penguins have rebounded to tie the game. Backhander by Randy Gillen. You missed this one, shame on you for 6 weeks, boy. Both games have been absolutely unbelievable in the series today, and it's not over yet. John Bruce and the Penguins in, shoot it towards the net. Loose puck, look out. Here's Stephen Leach. He can't put it in. Now they drive it in towards the net. Peter Angelo stopped that. The Capitals almost took the lead again. You almost have that feeling, Paul, the way this game is going in regulation, whoever gets the puck last may win this hockey game in regulation. I don't know. They're both getting great scoring chances.
I'll take my chances with Stephen Leach with that puck down there in that area. Better than Dino Cicerelli. And then Frank Pietrangelo this time able to get a hold of that loose puck around the net. He is having problems finding that puck when it's down by his feet.
4:18 to go in regulation. And a goal by Gillen from Recchi and Stanton. Recchi's got a 4-point night for the Penguins. But it'll all be wasted if the Penguins lose here. It doesn't really matter how many you get. It's what the final score is. So the Penguins are trying to rebound and get a victory here to even the series at 1 apiece.
You gotta love it for Randy Gillen. His step on the head been out there much tonight. Killing penalties is about it. He jumped on as the extra attacker and found a loose puck and put it past Mike Liut.
Boston now leading Montreal 3-2 in the 3rd period at Boston. Montreal goal scoring. Cordell scored to tie up, and Davey Christian put them ahead 3-2.
before the game today, Bob Johnson talking about it being a team game, and Randy Gillen just showed us what he meant.
Well, the Canadians have just tied that game. Now it's 3-3 in the third period. Here it's 6-6, Pittsburgh and Washington. And Brian Trottier weaves his way up to the Capitals line. Right side to Recchi. Recchi pulls in, looking to shoot. It does, and stopped made by Liut off his right pad. Langway gets to the puck. This game has gone back and forth all night long as far as momentum. And the Penguins trying to regain it again. Recchi put it behind the net to Mario Lemieux. Lemieux of the Penguins can't make a play back in front. They just snapped off the boards and back to center ice to Mike Ridley. Ridley going to the Penguins in against Gordy Roberts. Recchi's all over Kelly Miller as he goes towards the goal. Bourque of the Penguins coming up with it. Bourque around Lemieux with 3:40 to go in regulation. And Mario just puts it up in the air. It'll bounce through into the Capital zone. Calle Johansson shoots it back to the right wing corner, Pittsburgh territory. With the puck, Francis of the Pens around the horn, looks for Mullen. Johansson came in to pinch in. He will keep it alive. Now they feed it in the slot area between the circles, but Paul Stanton is able to corral it. Around the boards of Joey Mullen. On with an outlet pass to Kevin Stevens. 6-6 the score. Here in the third period, Stevens on the rush, comes down with a wrist shot. That's stopped by Liut. Francis was hauled down left point. Coffey shoots it back towards the net. Liut knocks that wide. And in front, Francis was upended by Stephen Leach. Still in the near corner, Kevin Hatcher. And he flips it out of danger back down to the Penguin zone. Stand with less than 3 minutes to go in regulation. On the right wing to Coffey, and it's going to be called back on a two-line offside pass. That Boston-Montreal game, Stéphane Richer has tied the game for the Canadians. Wild hockey tonight, 3-3 in Boston, 6-6 here. And here's the puck lifted back into the Capital zone, 2:40 to go in regulation. Washington takes command of it. They send it ahead to Dino Ciccarelli. Out of Dmitry Kristich. He's into the Penguins in, trying to get around. Murphy comes down, going behind the net, centers it in front of him. Went right by everybody. Penguins have a 3-on-2 if they hurry back. Yager with Loney. And the man throwing away. Yager's around the man, cut to the net. His shot! Stopped by Liut. He has that puck in his shoulder and keeps Yager off the board. Oh, what a save by Mike Liut. Oh, Yager, I'm sure, thought he had himself the go-ahead goal there. But Mike Liut, a beautiful save by the Washington goaltender to stop Jaromir Jagr. Was Jagr flying down that slot.
And Jagr finally gave himself enough room to get a good shot away. He was coming with a full head of steam through the neutral zone, carrying that puck. And he decided to pull that puck between the legs, just drag it around Iafrate of all people. And he shot it right at the arm of Mike Liut. He pinned that puck between his arm and his body, and right in the 7 hole. What a save by Liut on Jagr.
Well, that's the save of the night right there. Mike Liut stopping Jaromir Jagr.
What a rush. That was the play of the night, too, from an offensive standpoint. And Jagr made a great play going the other way earlier in this period to break up a centering pass.
Well, every shot now right on the line. It's almost like overtime right now. You just feel that that sensation. The team that scores is going to win this hockey game at this point now. With 2:21 to go in regulation. Recchi with Bourque and Lemieux, and the sweat dripping very heavily off the face of Mike Liut as he stares out. Right left wing circle, Capitals in. It'll be Hunter against Mark Recchi. Recchi is a guy that won a game in overtime for the Penguins. Paul Stanton also won one. And they're both on the ice right now. And Recchi and Hunter are waved out. And Dave Tippett has to come on to get the assignment against Mario Lemieux. Lemieux won the draw, left point. Recchi over to Coffey, shoots it, and it went right by the shoulder of Mike Liut. Took a weird bounce off the corner. Liut comes over. Where's he going to go with it? Look out, he almost turned around and gave that puck to Lemieux. Off the boards, Recchi to the right side to Stan. Stumbles, looking though. Put it back in the corner and it hit his skate, and coming right to Calle Johansson. Back in the 3-on-2 break for the Capitals. Calle Johansson storms his way to the Penguins in a bad pass. Cut off by Coffey, and the Penguins hurry along. Here's Lemieux taking the pass against Hatcher. Cuts around him, moves down, looking, shoots, and a stop by Liut again. Oh, Lemieux almost scored there, but a good skate save by Liut. Recchi banging around the board. Here's a Penguin play in the zone as Recchi as both Lemieux and Hatcher went down. The Capitals go right back on the attack with the Penguins in. Dino Ciccarelli with a 6-6-9 left side. Got a man open. Tippett shooting. Blocked by Coffey, the Penguin defenseman.
Coffey's made 2 great defensive plays here in just the last minute or so.
What a stop again. Liut made on Mario Lemieux with his skate. And Lemieux comes up. He's tired on the ship, but he keeps going. Back to the Capitals in. Drop pass to Recchi. Now to Lemieux one more time. Mario going to Roberts. Pulls back. Back to Lemieux. Shoots it off the side of the net. We have 1:20 to go in regulation. Up the right wing boards. Here's Murphy of the Penguins. Murphy comes down, going behind the net. All the way around to the near boards. The Capitals trying to slow him down, and they do finally. And they come back, and they've got a 3-on-2. Remember, Lemieux is out here. He's dead tired. Miller the right side, but an offside call against the Capitals.
Not only that, but Murphy was the guy who was in deep on the play, so he was trapped coming back.
Both guys were exhausted. 1:07 to go. Lemieux coming off, and you can see just how out of gas he is right now.
And that was not Joe Bag of Donuts that he was trying to go around either. That was Kevin Hatcher. What a great play by Mario Lemieux to cut into the slot on the forehand, take the shot, and Lemieux almost allowed that to go between the pads, but it went off his pad and harmlessly just rolled off to the left of the cage. So Lemieux stopping the two big guns for the Penguins, the guys who can really make things happen one-on-one, make the great individual play, Yager and Lemieux.
1:07 left here in the third period. Ronnie Francis with Mullen and Stevens. And the two defensemen will be Gordy Roberts and Larry Murphy. Capitals counter with Pavanka's line with Leach and Bruce. And it's gone back and forth this game. Oh, a long shot by Johansson. Almost got by Pietrangelo. It hit his stick. Karam's over to the near boards. Roberts of the Penguins pulling back in behind his own net. And the Penguin blue liner pressured by Stephen Leach. Less than a minute to go in the regulation. Pass by Stevens cross rink off Johansson's stick, and that hops up into the seats with 45 seconds to go here in the third period. You talk about a title fight tonight. This had it all. This is maybe better than that fight's going to be.
You know what's interesting too, Mike, is that the Capitals, if you ask every guy, you'd say, well, we don't want to get into a shootout with Pittsburgh. We're never going to win game 7-6 or anything like that against them. We're only going to be able to win 3-2. Somebody's going to win this game 7-6, I think.
And here is Berglund now stepping back, and Roberts takes the puck, and he'll wind it down the boards into the Capital zone. This will be an icing call. Icing will be called against the Penguins with 32 seconds left in regulation. Going to go all the way back into the Penguin zone to the left of Frank Pietrangelo. If the Capitals should win this game, you know they've got all the momentum in the series and going their way. If the Penguins win, it's maybe a carryover going to the third game in Washington.
I'll tell you, you look back at that Jersey series in game 2 and why it was so critical. The Penguins were down. They were in overtime. It was a game like this that it just built up and built up. The intensity was so great, and it was one of those nail biters. And with the Penguins scoring the goal, it just seemed to give them a big lift. And that's so much hinges on a game like this because there's so much emotion involved in it.
But that lasted one game before the Devils came back and won game 4. So it's amazing the way these series go, the way emotions go up and down so quickly. Here's Mullen moving the puck to center. And the eventual thing is the team has to win 4-7 games. Francis down the right side. Going to the Capitals in. He shoots it in the corner. Now 17 to go in the third period. Out to Mullen. Mullen turns and shoots it off the side of the goal. Mullen waited. He went back on it. Now gets it over to the open man. Stevens turns around. Stevens knocked down by Johansson. Here's Francis behind the net. 5 seconds to go. Capitals working to the near corner, but it looks like we're going to overtime. 1 second left, and we will go to sudden death overtime.
Penguins Classic TV on FSN Pittsburgh is brought to you by the Mountaineer Racetrack and Gaming Resort. We'll leave the slots on for you. By Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. By Dodge, grab life by the horns. By Penn Telecom, seriously dedicated to business communications. And by the Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Get a better read on Pittsburgh sports in the Pittsburgh Tribune Review.
Greg, I think if you went into this series and the Penguins were into this game tonight and the Penguins said we were going to score 6 goals, you obviously would think you'd win the game. I think the Capitals would probably have said the same thing. Why do you suppose it has been that end-to-end kind of wild, high-scoring game? Obviously, special teams have had an effect on everything.
Yeah, they have. And frankly, the goaltenders have played fairly well. There could be a lot more goals scored. Jaromir Jagr made a great play, end-to-end rush, and Liut made a great save on it. I don't know if he knew he made the save or not because he was looking for the puck, but he made the save nevertheless. And I don't know why it's been end-to-end. I hope we play a lot more solid defensively this period.
Well, Mike Liut standing on his head, and the Penguins again continuing to get tremendous chances, and you got to give the Washington Capitals all the credit in the world. They were down by 2 goals going to the third period. Dino Ciccarelli, just an indomitable spirit on that team. A guy went to the net and took a beating to score goals, Bob, and he was kind of the spiritual leader, I thought, of this hockey team in the third period.
Well, he was, Staggy. He was certainly a pit bull, Dino Ciccarelli, and he thrived at being hit. The more you hit him, the better he would get.
So why'd you hit him so much?
Because I'd get better when I was involved. Somebody told me that a long time ago. Bob Berry, as a matter of fact, told me you got to get involved, and I did. But Dino Ciccarelli, I played with him in Detroit, and he was one of the best players, maybe the best player I've ever seen in a perimeter, a 3-foot perimeter, in the crease, around that crease area. I don't know if there's anybody any better.
Well, we've talked about Tim Kerr from Philadelphia before. He was a big guy that would set up that tripod in front of the net. Well, Dino was a little bit different, where he wanted to get in with the mix. He didn't mind mixing up with a guy like Ulf Samuelsson if he was going to get paid at the end with a goal or a deflection. He was unbelievable at that, and he almost picks up this whole Washington team, throws it on his back, and almost wins this game single-handedly.
And I'll tell you, things were getting pretty ugly in front of that Penguins net. I mean, the Penguins almost had another goal go in. They blew a quick whistle with the puck lying there on the goal line, but then here comes the guy that you guys used to call the Gilly Goat, Randy Gillen.
We had a lot of names for him, and Borky, you were sitting beside him on the bench. Take it through.
It's just phenomenal. You see Randy sliding in there underneath the radar like a stealth bomber, just goes in and finds that loose puck, and I tell you, the whole place was shocked at Randy Gillen. You even see Mario was just like, what, are you kidding me? What's Randy Gillen doing on the ice? But there was a delayed penalty. Mario actually drove to the net and drew a penalty,
right.
And Frank Pietrangelo drove to the net. Randy Gillen was on the bench, and we all stood up and it was like, who's going to go? Who's going to go? We figured that
supposed to be the next center, right?
Which would have been Ronnie Francis at the time. Nobody was ready to go. As Frankie came to the bench, Randy Gillen took it upon himself, because he was a guy, when he was on the bench, Bobby, you remember, he was always yapping, always in the game. So he knew when Frankie came to the bench, heck, if nobody's going, I'm going.
And even what's more impressive, Borky, is he didn't play in the second period and played maybe one shift in the first period. He had been sitting there the whole game. And he has enough presence to jump on the ice like that and put the puck in the net.
So it's kind of funny when you think about it. Here's Bob Johnson. You know, Paul Coffey says he should shorten his bench, so he does. So now Randy Gillen's not playing much, so he takes it upon himself. I'll show you shortening the bench. So he jumps on, he scores a huge goal, ties the game at 6. And now we're going to what is a tremendous overtime period. And you'll see that the Penguins in this overtime period are not about to sit back. They're going after the Washington Capitals to try to get Game 2 of this playoff series.
Penguins are 5-3 in overtime play, including a win over New Jersey in their last overtime game. And the Washington Capitals in overtime have a record of 8-5. And they have won 6 straight. The last time they lost in overtime was the 18th of April in '87, the longest overtime game in the history of the NHL against the Islanders, losing 3-2. Since that time, they've rattled off 6 straight. Here's the play underway. Sudden death overtime, and now Iafrate back on the Capitals' end.
Well, that's good to know.
Iafrate with that puck. It went 4 overtimes before that game was decided. Lemieux in the Capitals' end left side. Over to Bob Berry. Recchi's in front of the net. He'll be looking for the hat trick. It could end it. Around the net, Recchi shoots, and he just missed the goal. He scored an overtimer to beat the Capitals. And isn't that ironic that the Penguins are facing a goaltender that 10 years ago, almost to the date, that they lost to in St. Louis in Game 5 of a playoff series against the St. Louis Blues, when Mike Crombie scored a winning goal against Greg Millen. Lemieux into the Capitals' end. Right side, Recchi's there. A shot! Saved Maine-Lemieux again from 45 feet. And the Capitals come rambling back. They go to center ice to Berglund. Berglund will shoot it in. Penguins going for the kill early, it looks like. They got the big guns on. They couldn't cash in on the first 2 shots. Coffey and the Penguins going to the Capitals' blue line, and he'll dump it in.
I think Recchi's first chance was stopped by Lemieux. I think he got a skate on it.
Francis put it in front, and it went right by Kevin Stevens. Paul Stan shoots it deflected. It comes over to Kevin Stevens. Wrists it wide of the goal. Right side, Stan comes on. He shoots it back in front, and it's deflected by Lemieux. Now the Penguins back around behind the net. Turns, looks, shoots, and he hit a stick of Lemieux. Off his stick and up into the seats. And the faceoff will be in the Capital zone.
Well, the only thing that scares me about this, Mike, the Penguins coming out and throwing everything at Lemieux, and Washington hasn't had their chance yet. And sometimes in overtime you get a lot of chances at one end, and then the other team comes up and they score on their first chance or maybe second chance. But Penguins need to cash in if they're going to be pouring everything at Lemieux. You just hope that they do it soon.
That did not hit Lemieux. Take a hit for the defenseman who went diving out to put the stick down and block the shot by Joey Mullen.
I think Lemieux got his left skate on Recchi's first chance. And then he stopped Recchi again with a hard wrist shot. Recchi can really let that rip when he's skating in full stride. He's got a great wrist shot to catch his goaltenders by surprise.
The other game also in overtime tonight, the Canadiens and Bruins.
This was Recchi's first chance. I think he may have shot it wide. It's hard to tell from that angle if it went off the toe of Lemieux or just wide of the net.
And Ron Francis on the ice with Joe Mullen and Kevin Stevens. And the Capitals counter here with Dale Hutter Face off to the left of Mike Liut. Liut in that game against the Penguins with St. Louis, both he and Miller were just unconscious. Liut actually stopped Mark Johnson on the second overtime, coming down, I believe, on a breakaway attempt, and stopped him just at the beginning of it. And again, the Blues went on to win that game. He was phenomenal that night, as was Millen, and it was decided by a goal by Crombie. And here is Kevin Hatcher trying to come out. Whip it ahead to the blue line, not out of the zone. Francis got it over to Stevens now, trying to look for Mullen, but it's cut off by the Capitals. Dino Ciccarelli. He'll stuff it down the boards around to the left wing corner. Dave Pippett has it for the Caps. Stevens took it away from him, and it comes outlet now to Joey Mullen. On the attack to Ron Francis. Right wing to Kevin Stevens. A 6-6 tie in overtime. Stevens turns around. A backhand shot. And Liut got a stick on that easily. Right behind the Capitals goal. Loose puck. Francis going for it. Ronnie Francis backdoor it, but the Capitals are there to break up the attack. And playing defense in his own end was Dale Hunter. Line to the head of center net of Dino Ciccarelli. Long shot deflected. Goes in on Peter Angelo. Frankie will leave it for Gordie Roberts. We're 2 minutes into the overtime period. The first one. Of course, if they do not score in this overtime period, they would clean the ice and go to another one. An icing call here against the Penguins. They shot it up ice. Penguins have had have had 3 shots in the period. The Capitals with 1 in the overtime. These two clubs will meet in Game 3 at Washington. This could be very pivotal right now, the way this game's going. I mean, Penguins lose, the heart taken out of them, and go to Washington down 2-0.
But I mean, so much hinges on it that it can be really a key game in this series.
Lavanka matches it up against Brian Trottier. And the Penguins do come up with it. Larry Murphy held it from behind by John Bruce, but the Penguins do ramble back the other way. Troy Loney going to the Capitals line, and he'll dump it in. Liut had a bounce off his stick. He steps out of the goal, though. Now looks to backhand it away, and he'll leave it for Langway. That's a wise move there. Let him clear it out. And he will. Well, Leach on the right wing. Going to the Penguins end. Leach with a long shot. That almost got by Peter Angelo, but he got it with a glove and held on. Leach trying to surprise Frank Peter Angelo with a long-range shot. Frankie just got down to glove that one and hold on. Penguins have had some dramatic overtime games. Who can forget the one 1982 when the Islanders beat the Penguins 4-3 in overtime, when John Tonelli scored the overtime goal after the Penguins led 3-1 late in the third period in that series. It was tied 2-2. The Islanders won that game and went on to win the Stanley Cup once again.
That was the hardest series they had that year. It's usually the way it works. You heard the players talking about that first series is always the toughest. What they mean by that is, Paul Coffey said that after the Game 7 win. He said the first series is always the toughest. He says it's not going to get any easier, though. It's going to get harder. But what he meant was the underdog factor is gone. You're expected to win that first series, so it's that much tougher for you psychologically to get over the hump against an underdog. Things tend to even out once you get further along in the series.
Face-off Penguins in to the left of Peter Angelo. Mike Ridley of the Capitals against Ron Francis of Pittsburgh, who was on the ice with Bob Airy of the Pens and Mark Recchi. Face-off drop, Capitals control, right point. Johansson with a shot blocked and out, but it will be Bob Airy. Looks to play it away to Mark Recchi. And Recchi has a knack of coming up with big goals for the Penguins in crucial situations. He had 9 game winners on the year, and here's Recchi behind the net now on the Capitals end. Looks for Lemieux in front, who's on. Can't get it to him. Around the boards, it goes to Tim Berglund. Berglund to center to Ridley, and Lemieux snaps that away, and he grabs the puck and fires it away to the Capitals' left wing corner. Johansson of Washington lost the puck. Here's Recchi giving the puck to Lemieux right in front, one-on-one. He turns, shoots, scores. No, he couldn't put it in. He had a chance right there, and Liut stopped Mario Lemieux right in front. It looked as though he had him at his mercy on the backhand attempt, and Liut robbed him. Here's Kelly Miller going to the Penguins in offside. Boy, it looked like Lemieux had that one tucked in his pocket, and Liut somehow got over to make the save on Mario Lemieux. What a big save by Mike Liut.
And he stopped the rebound, too. Lemieux was parked in front. Maybe he had too much time, if you know what I mean. He had it on the stick. Liut was set. Lemieux tried to backhand it, but didn't get it over his pad. He had the pad out there, and then he made an unbelievable save on a rebound shot by Paul Coffey. Absolutely incredible goaltending by Mike Liut. But Mario went to the backhand, and Liut just guessed right. He had his right pad out, and Lemieux couldn't get it up, but the rebound came out. It was Coffey who took the first shot going by the net. Liut made the save, and Recchi couldn't get a hold of it on the second track. Penguins have had about 5 great scoring chances already.
And pushing it long over the head of Liut around the left side, and it'll be Trottier put it behind the net. Here is Yager, belted hard by Langway. Only he is belted hard from behind by Kristich as the hitting picks up now. Yager trying to work himself free around Langway. Langway's got him tied up. That's about what you have to do to tie up that big guy, Yager. Capitals trying to clear, and they can't. Right point, it goes to Stan. Well, it should be his Loney right in front. Give it to him on the deflection and stop by Liut. He had Loney right in front, and he did the right thing. He feathered it through, and Loney deflected it. Langley's knocking people down in front of that net, and he'll get away with it here as the Capitals race back to center. Catcher on the left wing. Look for Cesarelli, and the Capitals are offside. Rod Langway knocking out anything that moves, like a bulldozer in a construction yard in that Capital zone.
Paul Stanton won a game for the Penguins in overtime against the Capitals during the regular season. He just threw one to the net that went off a stick, and Liut had to be sharp to make the save on that. Great concentration as that puck came to the net.
It actually went off two sticks, one of the Capitals and also Loney's on the way in. Mike Liut standing tall right now for the Capitals.
Liut's got a mustache. He looks like, what's his name? The comedian. Look at his name, and I can't think of it. Anyway.
42-41 the shots. The Capitals have outshot the Penguins. Pavelka at center ice here outside of the Penguin blue line against Ron Francis. 12:41 to go in the first overtime period. Game tied at 6.
Charlie Chaplin is the guy he looks like. He got a shot at Liut's mustache. It's hilarious.
And the Pens win the draw. Stanton giving the puck back to Paul Coffey. On to Stanton again. Wristed up to the center red line area. Mike Lawler pokes it through back into the Penguin zone and behind the net. Peter Angelo. Giving that puck for Stanton. They'll spin it back to center, but Lawler cut it off for the Caps, and they drive it right back in. The game's trying to settle down a little bit now. Both teams very early went for the win. There's Coffey, though. He'll race back to the Capitals line, comes down, shoots it right on, and Liut makes that save. Snapped away by the Capitals on the rebound to center. He was trying to set it up again. And it goes through to Iafrate in the Cap zone. He avoids a check by Ron Francis. Iafrate trying to get around Mullen. He does that, too. Iafrate to the left wing. Gets around a third man. Iafrate goes against the fourth, but he can't beat him. And Mullen turns on the counterattack. Penguins hurrying up. They got a man open left wing. It's Stevens. Francis has it. He goes to Stevens. He's there. A shot. Hey! Shoots and scores! Kevin Stevens wins it in overtime for the Penguins. And ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. The goal. Kevin Stevens, whose nickname is Artie, picks up a big goal for the Penguins to even this series. And his fourth of the playoffs, and the Penguins, Iafrate, who was the hero in Game 1, ends up being the guy that looks kind of tough here because he was in deep, got trapped. The Penguins came back and scored.
He got caught up in the Penguins game. It's something he said he didn't want to do before Game 1. But Ron Francis calmly carried that puck to the neutral zone, came across the line, took a look, faked a shot, and then went over to Stevens. Liut came across, but Kevin Stevens banged it off the right post into the net to make it 7-6 and send the Penguins home and to Washington tied at 1.
So Stevens buries that shot, and the big train. And Francis faked the shot first and then went to Stevens, and he was able to wrist it by Liut.
I thought he banged it off the post. It hit that bar at the back of the net. It came back out. Put it right in the middle of the net.
All right, final score tonight. The Penguins 7 and the Capitals 6, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Wow, what a finish. The Penguins outshoot the Capitals 9-4 in the overtime period. I always worry about those situations, and you heard me say it on the broadcast. You know, when you're getting all those chances in overtime, it's not going in. You're thinking they're going to come at the other end, and you're just going to get their one chance, and they're going to score. But you guys kept putting on the pressure. Liut was making the saves, and finally you're able to break through on a tremendous play by Ronnie Francis and Kevin Stevens.
Well, as you see this one unfold, you're going to see Ronnie Francis. We talked about fake shots throughout the game by Paul Coffey and making feeds, but Ronnie Francis, he was known for his fake passes, fake shot, and then feeding players. And Iafrate gets caught up ice, and here go the Penguins on the rush with Paul Coffey.
Well, you see Koff here. He really makes this play. He moves up, and I think it's Stephen Leach is taking Koff. And if Koff does not move up on that play, I think Stephen Leach breaks off, and he takes Kevin Stevens, and that play never happens. But because Koff was so aware, jumped up on the play. It opened up that passing lane for Ronnie Francis to fake the shot, open up those hips, and slide a perfect pass to Kevin Stevens, and the big boy does not miss from there.
No, he doesn't. And you see Mike Liut had to hold himself on the left post and then had to slide across to take Kevin Stevens, a big Artie shot. Artie put it right inside the post because he had to hold his position on the Ron Francis fake. Just those little plays, Steggy.
Well, you know, there's a different brand of hockey that you play at home and on the road, no matter what, because I think you tend to be a little bit more careful about your defensive coverage when you get on the road. But look at the scores of this series. Once this series reverted over to Washington, and you'll see the difference in the way these games were played. I mean, you know, in this first game, the Capitals win 4-2. Then the Penguins have to win in overtime 7-6. Now look at the scores, guys. You know, you guys just shut them right down after that.
Well, I don't.
One other thing, Staggy, is that was right after a very emotional 7-game series with New Jersey. And those first 2 games, I think we were a little bit still shell-shocked from that. And I think that overtime win brought us back down to reality, got us back into playoff mode, and we just shut the door on Washington. They never won a game after we won that overtime game.
And I think maybe we try to do too much on home ice. You get on the road, you play a little bit better brand of defensive hockey. I mean, and the Caps really had a lot of great defensive players, not to mention people that play positionally defense, but what about their offensive players? Kelly Miller, Pavanka, Mike Ridley.
Sure.
I mean, you go on and on. They had a lot of intangibles on their hockey club. When I watched this game and saw what they had in their lineup, Steggy, and realized we beat that kind of hockey club, looking back now, you know, you want to feel sorry for them. You kind of do. You know, you didn't at the time, but they had tremendous hockey clubs through that era of the Penguin Stanley Cups. They just couldn't get over that hump.
And by the way, Frank Pietrangelo, he had done what he could do for the Penguins. That was the end of the road for him. He did play a little bit in the Stanley Cup Finals when Tom Barrasso got hurt again, but Barrasso came back and finished off that series, and he might have been one of the big reasons, too, while the goals against was cut down there in those final games of the series, which the Penguins won in 5 games. Guys, thanks a lot for coming in again, Borky. Thanks for the memories, too. It's always fun to watch and certainly to reminisce with you.
Steggy, you were good in that game, too.
Yeah, that was one of my better games. You know, Mike didn't have to correct me or anything. It was great. And you know what? We have another run and gun special for you coming up next week on Penguins Classic TV. It's the Penguins and the Chicago Blackhawks, not the Stanley Cup Finals in '92. No, this is a game that was played on March 12th of '89, and Mario had 6 points, and Tom Barrasso made 57 saves. Penguins win the game in Chicago Stadium. It is classic, and I mean classic, Penguins run and gun hockey. That's coming up next week on Penguins Classic TV. For Bob Arian and Phil Bork, I'm Paul Steigerwald. Good night, everybody.